Hello, Athletech community, and welcome to the Big Picture Understanding the Modern Fitness Consumer, sponsored by my friends at Club OS. I'm Sarah Pellegrino, host of the Value Proposition by the Fitness Business podcast. And with me today for this conversation is Nick Hahn, VP of Product for Club OS, and fitness industry consultant Jared Sirocco, or as we know him, the Health Club Doctor. Today, we're going to review 3 things that you should be doing to protect and grow your business. The first area we want to cover is taking advantage of automated communications. So, Nick, start us off today with how you see health clubs most efficiently automate their engagement with prospects.
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Millennials and Gen Z make up approximately 75% of new gym memberships. It varies from region to region and from type of facility to type of facility. But it's really important for those generations to personalize the messaging that the prospect is going to be receiving based off of how they entered your flow. Uh, the vast majority of that demographic is working on off their mobile phone at all times. So they probably found out about you from on their mobile device. They would have looked up and read reviews about you from their mobile device. So making sure you're communicating to them via text, not just phone calls. If they wanted to have that phone call, they would have called you. We see our customer base can increase their conversion rate of new memberships by 22% when they combine calling and texting instead of just calling or emailing. It's a big differentiator, and it really meets the prospect with what they're expecting, how they're expecting to be communicated to.
I love that. I love a good generational conversation. So, Nick, are you seeing, the clubs engage differently with members, or is it really they're communicating the same just based on generations?
No, I think membership is a whole nother set of communication paths that need to occur. It's nearly impossible to communicate well with members without an integrated marketing automation solution. You need to plan out that first 6 months of communication with a member and have all your members go through that flow. And it needs to be based off of what they're actually doing within your facility. What classes are they taking? What days are they attending? What amenities are they taking advantage of? Are they purchasing your smoothies or shakes? These are all the things that you really need that membership CRM to understand so that you can personalize that journey to get them from that new member to that sticky member who has s- put you into their lifestyle and into their habits. Another thing that I think is really important from what we see with our customers who are really successful with personal training is lowering the friction to book that personal training orientation. Uh, right now, the industry is heavily relies on orientations being booked through a human, through that head of PT, through the front desk at point of sale, or via phone call follow up. I think it's really important for millennials and Gen Z to lower that friction. Let them book that first orientation through the mobile app. Let them book online. Let them do it on their own. You can be reminding them that they have it available to them, but you're not necessarily forcing them uh, to book through you. It's just not what millennial and Gen Z do. They book their doctor's appointments through mobile apps now. Why are they going to book their gym session via a phone call? It's counterintuitive for what they're looking for.
You're 100% correct. They really don't wanna talk to you unless they have to. Awesome, Nick. So walk us through alumni members or those members that have since left you. They're still in your database. We still wanna see if we can get them back. So what is the best way that you have seen health clubs automate communication with those alumni members?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is kind of our third set of this our third cohort that we really think about a lot. This is the cohort that you really it should be kind of low effort, less personalization than the first two. They already know your brand. Ultimately, an alumni member can be bucketed into uh, only like 3 reasons for why they left. They moved. They had a lifestyle change. It's summer and they don't want to go to the gym, so they're going to cancel the membership, or they just were dissatisfied with your service. Uh, in any case, they know you exist. They know you're there. They just need a reminder occasionally that you're still there, and preferably providing regular updates on new information about the club. So, did you get a new piece of cardio equipment? Do you have a new squat rack? That's the kind of information that you let them know what's different. You're not trying to cut costs and sell them, or they're not going to come back just because you gave them a $10 off. Like, they wouldn't have left if it was really about a couple dollars a month. There's something else that's missing there. And since you can really focus to you can send messages to these groups with less personalization. We have customers that regularly turn just $6 of spend into $6,000 of annualized memberships, just by making sure that on a monthly basis you're providing a little bit of a reminder that you exist and offering something new that they might not have been previously taking advantage of.
That's huge, letting them know what's different. That's a really great point, Nick. Thank you so much. All right, Jer, you plan and lead a lot of staff trainings, and I'm very curious how you train your staff to communicate with these three groups. So the prospects, the members, and the alumni members.
Well, obviously, all of them are different and they all require different messaging. I think what's lost a lot of times in fitness businesses is the message that we want to send to each one of them. At the core of that is who we are and what we stand for, right? So we always have to identify who our ideal member actually is. And when we go marketing and we look for prospects, are we getting the right kind of prospects? And that has a lot to do with the messaging that we send. Once we get them engaged, then what are we talking to them about? Just how awesome we are? Nobody wants to hear that, right? So we want to actually meet them where they are. I always say that that's really the key point. A prospect is going to have a difference in messaging than a member is going to have, and then obviously an alumni person or someone who's canceled is also going to have a different message, especially the message for the canceled member or alumni member. We were just talking about this at another event I was at a few weeks ago. That actually starts during the cancellation process because a lot of times we make that process so painful and it's so difficult to cancel the membership that in a couple of weeks we go, oh, we miss you, we want you to come back. And why would they come back to us after we just made it such a miserable experience in the first place? So I think a lot of times our messaging has to stem really from who we are, what we stand for, and then really understanding the unique needs of each one of those individual groups. So focus on them, not on us, what they get out of that relationship, how we can benefit them, improve their lifestyle, whatever it is that we offer. And then really try and make sure that we humanize that messaging, because a lot of people are using, we could talk about AI and chat GPT and all that. But at the end of the day, we're communicating with a human on the other end of it. And so whatever method we're using, text, mobile, email, phone call, we have to humanize that message.
100%. And I like your message about making cancellations a fairly manageable process.
No, it's true.
It is. It is. All right, Jared, when we look at must-have CRM features, what are
Mhm.
the most important features that your staff rely on to meet the needs of their consumers?
Well, I'm going to use the word customization. Every fitness business is unique and different in its own way, and we're not all going to be set up and structured the same way from a staffing standpoint. Many facilities over the years have gotten rid of membership coordinators. They're allowing the desk staff to handle memberships and cancellations and retention. So, what is that system going to be set up like? It's not going to be exactly the same as a facility that has a team of membership coordinators whose specific job is to do this outreach, right? So, it's important that a CRM has the ability to be fully customized for a facility, and at the same time the ability to change the cadence or the method that I'm communicating with them. If let's say a company came to me and said, Jared, here's our product, and we only do email this day, phone call that day. Well, my facility may not be set up to do phone call, and now I'm locked in, and so that automatically takes that company out of the running for me. So when I'm looking at CRMs and I'm looking at software partners, I'm looking at people who really have the ability to work with me as an individual business and achieve the goals based on how I'm set up, and I'm not kind of forced into their box. At the same time, I'm looking at diversity in communication. How up to date they are in the ability to connect with those different generations. A lot of people are still underutilizing SMS and text messaging. Does this platform have the ability not just to send the message, but to receive one? And for me then to be able to respond to that and get notified by it, that's a two-way street. That's really, really important. The ability to email and then set tasks and phone calls, customize a newsletter. Do I have to go and get another third party email service, or can I create great graphically, beautiful newsletters and email campaigns within that CRM? So there's a lot of different things that I look for, but at the end of the day, support and training are also two huge factors to me. Is this company really going to be my partner, or is it going to be somebody that just kind of sells me and hopes that I figure it out on my own and leaves me to figure it out on my own later on? So when I'm looking at that, I'm looking at customization, support and training, and versatility to be able to fit the needs of my business.
Thank you both for your insight into automated communications. So, we're going to shift a little bit into making data driven decisions based on consumer habits. So, Jared, what are the data points you recommend club owners track regularly?
We don't have enough time in the world to talk about all of them. Obviously, we talk about KPIs and the big things, right? New memberships, total revenue, that type of stuff. And again, depending on the type of facility that you are, whether you're a studio or a big box, it's going to vary. But obviously, the main ones: new memberships, total revenue, my cancellations. If I have a sales process that a CRM, what is my closing rate? You know, one of the other things that I try to find out is speed to lead. Sometimes that's difficult. When that lead comes in on the website, how long did it take for us to then initiate contact on the backside? Attrition and retention, they're two different things. Sometimes people get them confused. And then as far as that cancellation goes, are they controllable or uncontrollable? And then if they're controllable, figuring out a plan of action, how we can do better and move forward there. So there's certainly a lot of different ones that we could talk about, but the main ones to talk about the healthier business, I would say, are all kind of summarized right there.
Awesome. Thank you. Nick, how do you see customers make class scheduling decisions based on club management software reports available to them?
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that your classes are scheduled through an app, through a mobile presence. That way, you can really track the attendance and also track the wait lists. So hopefully, you're getting to the point that your classes are waitlist, so you're not actually at capacity. And if you're tracking wait lists, was your 9 a.m. class a wait list of 15 people, or was it a wait list of one person? And you can use that information, the reporting and insights from your class attendance to determine when you should be offering those classes and which classes you need more of, because you have such a member demand that if only you offered classes more frequently, there would be more people attending. So I think it's really important. And then also just mixing up the time of day that the classes are on a day-to-day basis. So potentially having a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday at two different starting times, while you are able to track the analytics and learn of what your member base is actually preferring and then tweak from there.
Very cool. That's great, Nick. Thank you. Jared, how do you coach staff based on reports and analytics that you regularly monitor?
Well, as much as this might irk some people, numbers don't always tell the whole story, right? I know that we've kind of as an industry got into this thing. We're looking at data, 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 but we don't know what to do with it. And sometimes we have to dig a little bit deeper into why a number is the way it is. So the first thing we do is look at the report and the purpose of that report. We kind of analyze it and dig in a little bit more as to why a number may be where it is, what might be causing, let's say, a certain type of attrition, or why certain classes are growing as opposed to others. I think there's a lot of homework, so we kind of do some digging into each one of those reports, and then we kind of identify areas that need improvement, develop a plan of action to go in and make that improvement, and then watch that report change over time. So it is a process within a process. And I think that we have to give more attention to making sure we're not just looking at numbers and making decisions off of numbers, but we're actually finding out the why behind that number, the reason why a number or a report is showing what it is, to make sure that we're making really good, educated decisions on our business.
I mean, Jared, I would flat out say that numbers lie, right? Like numbers can
You
tell
said it. I just was being nice.
but it's true. Numbers can tell you whatever story you want to hear.
Sure.
It's not they're not as subjective as you would actually think they are. So that's where it's critically important to look at numbers in context of other numbers. For every measure you're looking at, you need to look at the countermeasure. So if you're pressuring for close rates, you need to make sure, are you still actually getting the same number of appointments booked, or are they only booking the appointments that are more likely to close, right? So you have to be looking at each of the countermeasures for whatever problem you're trying to solve. Otherwise, numbers are going to lie, and there's going to be a way to game the numbers to improve those specific measures without actually improving the overall health of the business.
Yeah, and I'll jump in if I can real quick because my favorite one on the numbers line is cancellations. Okay, because you think about it, I've got 100 cancels this month. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they were all controllable cancels. I think people always miss that. 3 people died. 2 people got reassigned on military leave. Somebody had a those are all different than, hey, I wasn't happy with the gym. That's something I can control, right? So again, the number might be 100, but my real number might be, 60 or whatever the case is. And so that's why I say you got to dig in there, and having a good software partner or CRM that helps you track all that is really, really important.
Absolutely. All right, team. Well, we're bringing today's conversation home with how you are both seeing your teams and customers engaging with their members using mobile applications. So, Jared, how are your health clubs using mobile to engage with their members?
Well, more and more people taking the time to utilize text messaging, obviously, but apps are all the rage. Obviously, during COVID, there was that. Oh, I said the c word. I promised I wouldn't say the c word, but there was that movement towards hybridization and working out on my phone and this and that. There's still a generation that's uncomfortable using mobile communication. They still prefer, old school method, a phone call or whatnot. But it also depends on the type of facility that you operate, the demographic there. But to your point, being mobile friendly, can I access your website very easily? Can I book a class very easily? Is it easy to navigate? Can I see what I need to see and do what I need to do within just a few seconds, or is it a frustrating process? So it's one thing to be mobile. It's another thing to make sure that the user experience is one that benefits the end customer, because it's not about what you think, it's about what they think and how they interact with it. But yeah, using it to book personal training, do classes, and all those things Nick mentioned earlier. I think if you're not doing those things or making an effort to move in that direction, you're going to be left behind for sure.
Yeah, it's such an easy thing to think about, walking around with your key tag to check in versus opening a mobile app to check in with the barcode. Both are easy. Both are relatively the same difficulty for the member, but the mobile app, if they're using that, now they're in your mobile app, and now you have their captive attention for a few seconds where you could be mentioning something else to them. You could be cross-selling. You could be offering at time of check-in a shake discount for the day. So you have so much more flexibility with what you can do in that mobile app that you can't do with a key tag that was printed out 3 years ago, right? So there's just so much more flexibility there.
Push notifications are an underrated method of member engagement and communication for sure. So if you've got a
And
mobile app and you have the ability to do push notifications, make sure you're utilizing that for sure.
as long as you don't overdo it like some freemium
No,
app
you can't do
out there.
that. No. Everything in balance, Nick.
Yeah,
Everything in balance.
we don't need any of the apps my kids install on my phone to be push notifying me anymore.
Nick, what is a good target adoption rate for a mobile application?
Yeah, I like to look at it for new members and how the new members are joining. So since you've got that 75% of your new members are in the millennial or Gen Z range, you want to be targeting about 75% of penetration of using the app at time of join. And you really want to do that through, if it's an in-person join, help them set up the app, get them to install it right there in front of you and be like, all right, we got your barcode. Here's how you scan it. Give them that little show and tell of how it's going to work. If it's digital, if it's a digital purchase, make sure that your first email communication mentions it to help on the onboarding process. So that's 75-80% penetration rate. That's a really good rate right now, and that's a great first target.
That's awesome. Thank you. Jared, what do you wish was different about the technology being used by fitness businesses today?
A lot. No, but to be honest, and I've said this before, I don't think there's a one company out there that is the ultimate end all be all for every single fitness business in the world, right? So it's important as operators that we do our homework and we make sure that we find the right fit for our business and our needs. But I think my biggest frustration with technology is that we need too many different pieces of technology. I think there was a report earlier this year at URSA that the average facility uses 6 different pieces of software or technology in their facility. To me, that's absurd. It's 6 different pieces I got to teach my staff and manage or my members or whatever the case is. And then when you go to switch or try to integrate, there's a lot of difficulty. So obviously I'm looking for technology partners, software companies to be more flexible and agreeable to open those APIs, right? And integrate to fit the needs of me, who I'm their customer, right? And I'm trying to fit the needs of my end customer. Cheap plug for Nick and his group. It's one of the reasons why I like working with Club OS and ASF is a lot of times I have some unique needs and they're willing to work with me to customize those features. And not a lot of companies are. So what I wish was different was that they were a little bit more integrated friendly, if that was the correct term to use, because at the end of the day, we're their customer trying to deliver a product and service. And we may need Nick's or yours or somebody else's to work together to provide that seamless experience.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. The need to be open and integrate with partners is really critical to the industry, and it's critical to all industries. Like if you look at healthcare and what they've done, and in a lot of the other industries out there, the more open to interoperability that they are, the more the overall industry grows, and the more that everyone succeeds. And just it's a rising tide that lifts up everyone. So it's exciting to see that some fitness organizations are getting better at that, but we definitely as an industry need to do a better job.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much for your insights on today's discussion, reviewing the different ways in which we can understand the modern fitness consumer. I hope you all, our Athletech community, found this discussion valuable. All right, guys, if they have questions, Nick, what's your email? What's the best way to get to you?
My email is the best way, and it is just nick@club-os.com.
Jer?
Jared, Jarrod at healthclubdoctor.com. Doctor is spelled all the way out, or you can find me online, LinkedIn, or any social media channel.
Perfect. Well, thank you all and enjoy the rest of the Disrupt video series.